Hi fashion designers, let's recreate this beautiful look from Tommy Hilfiger 2023 catwalk. So this is a backstage photo that I'm gonna use as a reference. Gonna go to the body section. Here's a man catwalk body template, and let's leave the center look barely visible to start adding the pieces. So I'm gonna take a separate layer and block in each element of this design. I will start with the face. Let's pick a flat marker. And what I will do is just simply color block it as just one simple shape. Great, this is done. Starting to add the denim part, the suit part. So a new layer, and I'm gonna pick a color. So it's gonna be the lighter color of the denim because the darker is gonna be a pattern. So the lighter one I will use to just draw the shape, and starting with the head. I think here I need probably a smaller tool for the head. Let's see, how does it look like? So I'll try the same with the pen to first find the shape of the head and to make sure it's correct. It's a little bit tricky to see how would it look from the front exactly. So I found another picture of the front, and that will help me to find a shape of the head. Time to add a new layer, and I will start with the scarf. I'll pick a new color. I'm going to take this red color and use the same approach to simply find the location of this shape. I'm experimenting this time with drawing without much of the outline. Sometimes all I do is draw the outline of the entire look on one layer, then start coloring. This time I want to treat each element separately on each layer, and it's just a new approach and see how it goes. And continuing with the suit, I returned to the layer with the head. I'm going to add all the denim parts to the same layer, and using the same approach, basically I'll start with finding an outline, and then I will color block it all together for one large solid shape. It's done, and I'm adding again one more layer for the smaller elements. I dragged it under so that it kind of is covered with the sleeve, and I will add these leather gloves and whatever else black leather elements I can find in this look. I'm going to keep them all on the same layer. Great, so I will begin in the same sequence with the face. Let's zoom into the face, and I will work on top of this solid shape that I have. I want to do a pretty straightforward look, and I'm adding some dark shadow underneath the hat. Just going to define the shape of the face using these broad shadows, and I won't bother drawing eyes as they're completely covered in the shadow of the brim of the head. So I am just going to do these shadows and only focus on the nose and the lips and add mustache, and that will create an illusion of a face that's covered in the shadow from the head. So with this lighter color, I am going to make a few highlights on the face and just add a few touches on the chin and the nose. And I will as well color the lips. I need a quite dark shade of pink. Again, there's going to be so much more light on the lower lip, and there's going to be way less light on the upper lip as it's going to be in the shadow. So I am just using a marker to really find those main areas of light and shadow. It's pretty easy, and then I have to draw this darker line in the middle as well. So I'm adding the separation line between the lips. I'm going to add a bit of definition for the nose and the mustache. There's a dark shadow under the nose, a small highlight on top of the upper lip. So now the nose really lacks definition. I'm going to add the shadow which will define the nostrils. And I think this is quite enough detail for the face, and I can start adding the scarf details. So I will take a marker. This is going to be quite quick, just a couple of white and navy stripes to approximately describe that there is some stripes design, but it's folded, so it's a little bit distorted here and there, just adding a couple of spots of color. Great, I'm quite happy with this. I'm going to add one more layer on top of the suit now. What I need to do is to add the pattern, and I know that there is some new patterns in the pattern library, and I will need to pick a darker color for this pattern. So I will start by picking a color, and I have this at the very bottom. There's this beautiful checkered flower pattern that I can apply. So I'm actually applying the light against dark. I started with dark and now I'm applying the lighter version of it. But I want to find the shade which will be the most suitable. And I wasn't careful, I just pressed on the wrong layer with my hand. So that's why it wasn't visible. So I like this color. It's just a few shades lighter than the outline that I have. I'll try to fill it in accurately everywhere I can. Where I can't, I won't bother and just take it out a bit. Because I'm working on a separate layer, it's a great way to not disrupt your previous work. I'll be able to just erase it everywhere outside the border without erasing the first solid shape that I've drawn. The edges are fixed, so I can take one more layer on top of that, and obviously now the shape looks really flat. I need to do some volume. I won't do a lot of intricate things. I'm just going to take one color. It has to be darker than both shades that we've used before. And make sure that it is used transparently. If you look at the sides of the head, you'll see that the pattern kind of disappears into the shadow. It's much less pronounced. So that effect I want to create by almost outlining the entire body with this shade from both sides. And I think the flat marker is the most convenient tool for doing that. I'll extend shadows sometimes towards the elements of the figure, like under the collar, everywhere where needs a bit more definition of shadow. This looks good, but I need to treat the edges and erase everything that is out. And since I've worked on a separate layer, that means I'm only erasing this shadow without affecting pattern or solid shape that I've made in the beginning. There are quite a few advantages of working on the separate layers. First of all, you can do all these changes, for example, like I did with the shadow, and now I'm erasing it without affecting your work in the previous layers. But as well, you can do different separate manipulations on the things on the separate layers. For example, if I want to change the color of the suit later, I'm not going to have to touch my shadow because it's this neutral gray color. I'm just going to go for the layer of the suit and simply color fill it with a different color. And that saves me a lot of time and gives me a lot of playground, so to speak, to explore so many options. The final part is to complete these leather details. You can do on a separate layer. I'm using the same layer just because they're so small, and I'm only going to add some light to it. So I pick a flat marker, and what I'm doing is, my initial shade was black. I took a gray color and placing a few strokes to the sides to make it kind of have this highlight on each part. Time to work on leather gloves. The fastest and most effective way to do it is do in 3 steps. Now I took a slightly lighter color of black, kind of dark gray, to just define the broad part of lead surface. And then I will take a much lighter color. You can take white or you can take just a lighter gray depending on how shiny the gloves are, and place it in the center of this broad area as a small highlights. So it's really quick and it's really easy, and it gives you a proper effect of a shiny leather gloves. Just a few small details left to be done. I spotted some buttons on this suit and some pockets in the front, so I will just take a small pen and I'll work on adding those. You can continue working on the details to give it a higher level of detailing, but I'm gonna stop right here. I really hope you liked this video and enjoyed it. Please give it a like and subscribe to this channel. Thank you for watching.